are now tuned in to the Last of Its Kind podcast, produced by humans, made for humans.
Tech news starts here.
Yo, check this out. We connect the streets.
Mike Johns bringing it to you live each and every week. Yo, check this out. And today we're going to be talking about, can the government use AI responsibly? And with us today, we have the acting chief tech officer for the city of DC, appointed by Mayor Muriel Bowser, Stephen Miller. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, Mike. Hope you're doing well.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to join us on Yo Check This Out. And I got to ask this first question. You're the acting chief tech officer. So what does that actually mean?
So, there's a lot of steps when it comes to getting a permanent appointment as a director in a government agency. So really what acting means is that I'm the director, I'm the chief technology officer for the agency, and I'm really just awaiting full confirmation from our council, which should really come in the next 5 or 6 days. We're really looking forward to that.
And so for all of our college listeners, college students that are out there looking at job opportunities, what does it take to qualify to be a chief tech officer for a city?
Sure, yeah. We're running an enterprise, a large enterprise that's covering everything from voice telephones to network connectivity in schools to, assisting with things like running payroll applications, running procurement applications, running a department of motor vehicles, or even, securing things like that. So really it's having a knowledge of IT and how it works with an enterprise with 37,000 people. It's, knowing how applications work. It's knowing how networks work. It's knowing how IT security helps an organization to be more resilient, more operational. That's really, that's what a lot of the experience of a CTO comes down to. And then it's focusing on the people that are helping make that happen and making sure that we have a happy, healthy workforce that's coming in every day to be the best civic technologists that we can be.
Do you see, with the next 10 years moving faster and more important than the last 100, do you see that roles like chief tech officer, chief information officer for cities advancing to maybe new titles like chief futurist?
Yeah, there's room for that. We always have to think about what's going to happen, not just today, not just tomorrow, but 5 years, even 10 years down the road. It's definitely something that you have to be aware that, just what is in technology space today isn't necessarily going to be what you're going to be using in 5 years or 10 years. And you do have to think about how technologies that aren't in use, things like augmented reality or mixed reality, how that can help people do their job, or how, what are ways that the residents of the district will want to engage with the district in the years to come. So yeah, you do have to be a very forward-facing person, very forward-facing technologist in order to really understand the role and really understand what it is that we're here to do for Washington, DC, or for any city or any state.
Well, since the subject is really around AI, let me just start off with this. How do DC residents feel about the city's incorporating AI into various aspects of urban life, such as transportation, public safety, and other city services?
Yeah, sure. This is really fresh in my mind. So last night we did some engagement with the residents of the district, really focused around how artificial intelligence can be impactful in the education space. And what I can say is that, the residents are, there's a spectrum of expectations, and there are people that are excited about what artificial intelligence is gonna do for the city. There's also people that are concerned. Really what it comes down to is listening about that excitement. What is it they're excited about? And we can help generate some use cases maybe that we didn't think about based upon what they're excited about. And then what are they concerned about? And that helps us start to figure out where we can start to temper those expectations about how AI can, impact them. If, a lot of what we hear is like, oh, I'm excited. This can help you guys save some money down the road, or this can help a resident figure out all the services that they are qualified for. But then it's also, what's going to happen if artificial intelligence is misleading me or providing inaccurate information. So it really helps us figure out what is it we need to do to get a comfort level with everyone, or as close to everyone as we can, in Washington, DC. And it also helps set that expectation of, well, what are the alternatives that we have to offer when we offer artificial intelligence as our primary way of doing business with the district? What are the alternatives that we have to have in place for those that have those concerns? And it really helps us, figure out how our projects and our initiatives are going to take shape as they're implemented, as they're rolled out. It's been, like I said, across the spectrum, excitement and concern, and we're looking at, yeah.
And what I found really special about this interview with you is the fact that DC has to be, if not the first city, number 2, to really say that we're really going to integrate AI across the board and be an AI city. Is that not correct?
We're going to do everything we can to put artificial intelligence in the places where we feel it's going to benefit the residents of the district. So it may not be something where, you see artificial intelligence in every agency today, because a lot of this will be, going out doing proof of concepts and pilots and making sure the tools are secure, making sure that there's sustainability in operating these tools given our budget, or making sure that these tools are actually benefiting the people that use our services, or if it's just something it was nice to have. So there's a lot that we're going to work with on this, but in general, we think that as long as it's benefiting the residents, as long as it's a sustainable future with AI, the services that we can impact with it, we're going to try to impact it. We're going to try to do it responsibly, and we're going to make sure that it's not a short-lived solution, that it's something that's delivering value for years to come.
What was the mayor's vision behind, I have to say, making DC AI ready? What was the vision behind that, and your alignment with that vision?
Yeah, so there's a couple things that drive that. So one, we are a very tech-centric city. In general, Washington, DC is one of the hottest IT job markets in the nation. If you want an IT job, Washington, DC is it. If you're a woman in tech, DC is 100% it. We're number one in that space. So Mayor Bowser knows that we have a very tech-savvy set of residents here in the city. She also knows that we have a set of residents that aren't very tech-savvy, that there is a digital divide here in the city. So while we're going to listen to the folks that are saying you should have AI there today, we're also going to listen to the folks that are saying, I don't understand what AI is. But the mayor wants to balance that out. The mayor wants us to get to a point where we're meeting the expectations of the tech-savvy residents in the city, and that we're also meeting the expectations of those that have the digital skills gaps or don't quite understand AI. So we're going to, she wants to make sure that we are taking the steps to get us ready for both sides of that. And this has been a multi-year process. In 2017, she appointed the first chief data officer for the city. I think she implemented a tighter data policy for the city, which really helped us prepare for it. We've spent the last several years understanding the data that we have, because we knew transformative technologies like artificial intelligence were coming into play. And the better our data was, the better it was going to help us put that in place. The more we understood the systems we have and the services, the better it's going to be when we start to roll out artificial intelligence and make a better, more interactive and more effective district government.
Right. So we got to give shouts out to Mayor Bowser for being future first for DC, bringing it into the 22nd century. So I go back to these titles, the chief tech officer for a city. It's interesting, and this is just with my future of work hat on. That title was non-existent 20 years ago. You look at chief information officer. I think chief information officer might be before the word chief tech officer. And it's just interesting to see, you mentioned chief data officer. When does it stop? What are the new positions? If World Economic Forum says by 2030, 60% of the jobs haven't even been created, something that's really alarming is when we look at, it's not just the going from Facebook to Instagram to, hey, what the hell is OnlyFans and how that emerged, new job and new opportunities, but where is it going with the government sector? What are the new jobs that haven't been created in that arena? No one's really talked about that. So when I just look at, again, chief information officer, chief tech officer, chief data officer. Chief futurist for a city is bound to happen.
Chief futurist is definitely a possibility. There's always discussions around the states and counties and cities around things like a chief artificial intelligence officer. Like these are discussions that we have, and it is, we do want to make sure that we have the right people in place and that we're thinking through again, like what is it that we need today? What is it we need tomorrow? What is it we need in 5 years and 10 years from now? And we evaluate that. We talk with our peers. We talk to other cities, again, other states and other counties and see what's the direction that you're going in. And then, we kind of think through, is this an investment that we need to make, or is this a policy or decision that we want to put in place? Or is this an organizational change that would benefit the residents of the district if we were to go down that path? Preparation's a great thing. Yeah.
You're opening it up. You just opened up the can of worms there that I want to ask. Let me start with how efficient has AI been to improve the public services and decision-making and, kind of what safeguards are in place to ensure it's used responsibly?
Sure. So I'll start with the safeguards. So one of the key things that we've established as part of our mayor's order on AI values alignment is that any AI tool is going to go through a process to ensure that it has the right processes, the right standards, the right tooling in place to ensure the privacy of the data that needs to remain private. And that can be, people's names, addresses, phone numbers, but, there's a lot more that the government collects depending upon the service that you're getting from the government. The other thing is, we're going to make sure that these tools are following industry cybersecurity standards, that they have, the right steps in place, not just to protect our data, but to make sure that a bad actor can't take advantage of this artificial intelligence tool to change the desired outcomes that tool was designed to put in place. There's other aspects in that values alignment. We do want to make sure that these AI tools aren't going to create a budgetary issue, or they're not going to create environmental issues, that they're not going to negatively impact our workforce, right? My goal is that, no one is going to lose their job to AI. AI tools are here to supplement our workforce, not to replace them. And that's going to create a higher value. Yeah.
If you're saying that, and again, you keep opening up more cans of worms here, but if you're saying that, then I'm kind of curious, is the citizens of DC, are they AI ready, as the city has taken such a proactive measures to be AI sustainable? And usually we see within technology, and I can speak for the West Coast, where tech moves faster than government. But as I'm listening to you, it's like this may be this novelty situation where is government moving now, thanks to AI, faster than the citizens? Are the citizens of DC just up to par, understanding the difference between AI, generative AI, and the progression of where AI is going to the same level as which government does?
So I think that runs along that digital divide. There is on one side we have a
Well, Stephen, what are you doing about it?
So what are we doing about it? That's a great.
I know the population of DC. So when we talk about the digital divide, the majority of the population of DC will be a part of that digital divide. Hello.
Yep. So I'm actually really glad you asked that. So we've been working on this, not just in the space of artificial intelligence, but again, getting to that what I stated earlier. DC is a very tech-centric city. We have a lot of companies that are here, a lot of small businesses, a lot of large businesses that operate not just in DC, but in the national capital region in general, that are like high technology companies. And, we know that the best way for us to help bridge that divide is to get people interested in the technologies and services that those companies offer, because that then.
So what you're saying sounds to me as if if I go to Google search, the highest number of Black and Latino employed in this tech sector would be in DC?
Not necessarily.
The way you're pitching it sounds really beautiful, because I know the population of DC don't look like you. So I'm just curious, how does that all work in the grand scheme? shouts out to Mayor Browser for the vision, but then I'm looking at the sustainable model, not for government, but the balance between government and its citizens. Hence, can the government use AI responsible? Stephen, you got it.
Yeah. I mean, it is like, and it gets into like what we're going to be capable of doing with investments we're going to be making, thanks to the Biden-Harris bipartisan infrastructure law, sets aside about $100 million for the district that are going to help us with broadband access and deployment in this city. That includes funding that's going to help us with digital to bridge the digital divide. So we're going to be making investments in community institutions, in government organizations, in education sector organizations that will help us to gain comfort levels with the residents in the city around technology, whether it's how to use a phone to make a FaceTime call with your grandson or granddaughter, to how to responsibly or ethically use AI in the workplace. What the goal is. Yeah. So, I mean,
organizations that are listening to this, and they will be, how do they, get involved as they're hearing what Brother Stephen is saying now? Hey, I got this. I'm a local church with XYZ amount of members, or this Boys and Girls Club, what have you. How do they get involved? Because a lot of it tends to be, one, being aware, and then two, how do I get involved? And not just the over paperwork.
Yeah. So there's, we have ongoing initiatives here, what we would call Tech Together DC. So Tech Together is a series of public-private partnerships across the region that are, it's companies working with us on this vision. They're working with us today to make sure that we're engaging with residents across the city to get those digital literacy skills, to get those skills in how to have that conversation with the grandchild over FaceTime, or how to understand what a phishing email is. It's not just the government, but it is it's both public and private sector organizations, NGOs, companies like Microsoft or Salesforce, or even some nonprofits like On-Ramps that are helping people get these careers, get this training, and get access and opportunities that otherwise wouldn't exist without these initiatives. So our Tech Together initiative, you can get more information about that. It's techtogetherdc.com. We'll give you more information about that.
Okay, I appreciate that. And I know our listeners will greatly appreciate that, because you tend to hear things in the overview and then not, or the macro level, and they want to get it from the micro standpoint. And that's very important, just in connecting the dots. And something that you said that I want to give a shout out to is Biden and Harris, in terms of, while Biden has been in office, his AI initiative, perhaps it's timing, but just the fact that he was at the forefront of creating the government's first AI initiative that's really, I think, on a nationwide scale, supportive of state, local businesses in their AI adoption. And so that's, something that he has outside of everything else that may be in the news. I do got to give Biden and Harris a shout out on that. And Lord only knows where things will be moving forward after this election as it relates to AI. Moving along, you kind of touched on this, but I just wanted to just nail it home. How does government plan to upskill and educate its workforce right there in DC? And really, at the end of the day, navigate through the complexities of AI and ensure kind of responsible deployment across the various sectors.
Yeah. So, I mean, with our residents, our business owners, folks that are at nonprofits, we're working to make sure that there's career and education pathways and opportunities that are going to help them upskill. All right. We're doing what we can, because this increases their earning power and increases their knowledge and their comfort with technology. It's kind of a big thing. We're going to make sure that we're, working through those partnerships to eliminate issues with access to broadband, eliminate issues with access to devices, and start to reduce or eliminate the cost barriers that it takes to get involved in technology. We're going to make sure that we're working with good, trusted, respected partners in the industry to accomplish this. And then, we're going to we're going to work towards increasing our role as as we get through the approval steps with what we're working with the Biden-Harris administration on that bipartisan infrastructure law. As we get those approval steps, we're going to get more involved, and we'll be more, I guess, like kind of directly influential on the direction that we're going. And there's a lot of ways that we can benefit. The government itself can benefit from this. If we're, if we're increasing digital literacy skills and the technologies that the district government has adopted, we're creating a workforce that can help improve the district government further. So the residents of the district are not just like benefiting from the services, but they're also helping us improve those services, helping us implement those services, and then helping us think through what are better ways to put these services in place down the line. It's, the investments that we can make in this community to increase digital literacy skills, to bridge that digital divide, it's going to help. I mean, it's economic development. It's a better government. It helps us build back, from anything that we've lost over the last couple of years in our focus, whether it was with the pandemic or whether it was with what came after the pandemic. Like, these investments are just going to help us create a better Washington DC and a more engaged group of residents that are interested in technology.
Love it. As I want to get ready to wrap up, but you're dropping a lot of nice jewels for our listeners. I'm getting some feedback here that's positive. Let me put on our future hat real quick. Grab yours. I got mine on. Make sure it's fitted. Here we go. Do you see a day? I'm laughing right now, but I just got to go there. Stephen, do you see a day in which government will be replaced by AI? Do we need a mayor in the next 15 years? Let's say 15 or 20 years. Do you think, Stephen, that a mayor will be even necessary?
It's a very interesting question, and I'm sure you follow the news. Someone actually ran an artificial intelligence kind of a version, I think, of ChatGPT as a mayoral candidate. I think it was out in might have been somewhere in the mountain regions. I think it might have been Montana.
Yeah. I saw that in the news. Yep.
Yeah, and it was an unsuccessful campaign, I think, for a couple of reasons. One, I think no matter what, you're always going to have a group of the population that's going to distrust artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's no way of eliminating that. Just like, there's always a portion of the population that you're never going to get a candidate that's supported 100%. And I think that's how we have to look at it. We're in a democracy. I think, the people will choose who would, be the executive for a city, for a state, or for a county, that kind of level. And I think there will be people that are comfortable with it being an artificial intelligence in the years to come, but I think it'll still be, always beneficial to have a human involved, to have a human being that's thinking things through. So I think, what you have to remember, artificial intelligence doesn't necessarily mean it's intelligent. It means that it knows how to follow patterns, how it knows how to manipulate or understand data, but it doesn't really have that human element. It doesn't necessarily have empathy. It doesn't necessarily have the ability to connect at a human level with someone. It can read a cookbook, and it can understand how to make eggs, but it's not necessarily understanding that it's chicken eggs that people like, not necessarily lizard eggs, that kind of thing. So,
well, keeping it moving and grooving. You saw in the news as you spoke, also was the biggest hack that just took place at the airports. The company out of Texas that really works with Microsoft and all the major airports, and it just slips me right now, but you saw one of the biggest hacks, the biggest hack that took place a couple months back. And I was sharing with people more to come. And so as we are moving into our smart cities make for smart states, the smart state makes for a smarter nation. As we connect those dots, what do we have as plan B in case this motherfucker gets hacked? Hello, Stephen, I'd like to hear from you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, all right. So, we
What
talk
is
about
DC's plan B? Due to pay grade, let's just focus on DC. What is the plan B in case of hacking? And this goes into, I want you to, run it, where, how much of the population trust, that's a big word, trust AI versus those that fear. And it's rolling out with hacking.
Yeah. So, what one of the key things Mayor Bowser puts across is that, when we put together the mayor's order on AI, we talked about 6 core values. And these are the 6 core values that really drive everything we do in DC. And the 6th value is around privacy and cybersecurity. So we make sure that we are, building out a resilient enterprise when it comes to technology, right? We also make sure that we're building out a resilient enterprise when it comes to our people, when it comes to our services, when it comes to our buildings, our facilities, when it comes to everything we do in DC. We want to make sure that we are building in resiliency into everything that we do. We try to diversify, how we work. We don't put all of our eggs in one basket. We look to make sure that we are doing regular exercises to prepare for the best, but also to prepare for the worst, to prepare in the best way for what could be the worst, I think is a better way to say that. And then, we look to make sure, we try to make sure that the residents are engaged and understand the steps that we're taking. And I mean, a lot of this is going to be, let's make sure that, you're ready for what happens if there is an impact to government operations, right? So July 19th, when we had our major issue with CrowdStrike, that's a pretty good example of how our resiliency came to be, or how our resiliency helped us out. We were aware of what was going on with CrowdStrike pretty early. It was actually pretty unique. Our organization was aware of it probably within about 3 to 4 minutes of it happening. I was on a phone call working to figure out what was going on that day. And, we were engaged with agencies, engaged with technologists, engaged with, the directors that run our DMV or pick up our trash. And we were making sure, hey, what's going to be impacted by CrowdStrike today? Are we going to be able to pick up trash? Are we going to be able to inspect vehicles? Are we going to be able to have bus service? And, we worked through that, and we understood, like, by, a couple hours into the CrowdStrike event, here's what's going to be impacted. Let's communicate it with the residents of the district. Let's make sure that they understand what they're going to be able to do. And it was a hard day recovering from CrowdStrike, but I feel that, Washington DC was well understood what our impact was and communicated very well to our residents what the impact was and how they would be impacted, whether it be, their ability to go to an office to discuss nutritional benefits, or to discuss school enrollment, or to get their trash picked up, or to get their vehicle inspected. And I think anything else, like when it comes to any cybersecurity event, we're going to treat it exactly the same. We're going to make sure that we understand what the impact of that event is. We're going to plan out how we're going to recover from that event. And then we're going to plan out how we're going to prevent an event like that from happening in the future.
I love it. That, man, that's deep. And so with that in mind, and again, I think of Terminator. If the plan B, do we get hacked? What do we have? What are the measures in place?
Yeah, I mean, it's we try to think about what alternatives will be. We try to think about what is still working. Once we understand that kind of helps us figure out if we'll go with trash pickup. Think
about it this way. If we don't continue to teach math and arithmetic, and McDonald's cash register really just shows the image of the burger, the price of the burger, and then it tells the 18-year-old, the teenager, what you give back the customer. If that shit breaks down, our critical thinking skills are that much more far removed, because we relied on technology. We're relying more on, as AI makes things more convenient, and it's always described either as a tool or an agent. It also takes away from your critical thinking. So that's where I kind of look at, the upskilling of the people versus the efficiency of what the government looks like, in DC being one of them, that it that AI provides. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah. I get what you're saying, and I mean, it is a lot of it is critical thinking. A lot of it, it's easy to think about when you're impacted. It's easy to think about alternatives, right? We haven't always used technology, so things worked 20 years ago. Things worked 30 years ago. They worked 40 years ago, and sometimes you do have to think about that. So how is it that a permit office can run without, a digital signage system that tells who's next in line? Well, it can run pretty well because we did it 20, 30 years ago without issue. It's really, sometimes you just got to put a Post-it note with a number on it and you call people out like, hey, you're number 5, you're next. So it's really thinking through those kind of what are resilient scenarios that'll help you recover faster or help you continue to offer services. And those critical thinking skills, sometimes it is thinking back, how did we do this in the quote unquote Stone Age of the 1980s?
Right.
Or sometimes it's like, what were the plans that we were thinking through for this, in 2-3 years? Because that's also alternatives that could technically work because it's not the situation that you're in today. It's a situation you could have been preparing for down the line. So there's critical thinking skills. There's definitely, there's definitely ways to just think outside the box. That's a good way to put it.
Well, last question as we wrap up, and I'm big on this one. When I look at, again, the critical thinking, I ultimately want to be able to see the balance between the people being upskilled, being AI ready, and the government understanding how it's being leveraged. And again, I talk about that word efficiency because at the end of the day, that's always the efficiency, savings. Then we got to talk about ethical and transparency of data and all that good stuff. But then ultimately, how does that affect the citizens or the people formerly known as the customers? And so I love to have this intellectual discourse across the board from be it the citizens of DC to, the enablers to the government itself, right? That's what we need more of. And I'm kind of curious, with what you do and where DC is sit, how do you share as a city? Do you share data with, let's say, the city of LA? Do you share with the city of Chicago, Houston, in terms of these are what we found as our best practices as we're in this AI revolution, and that can close us out?
Yeah. So we do. And so DC is in a very unique situation, right? We operate as a state, we operate as a county, we operate as a city, right? So I get to engage all those levels.
Yeah.
And I'm actually getting ready to go out to a state level discussion with chief information security officers and chief technology officers and a few other C-suite roles when it comes to this kind of agency. But I mean, we engage, we talk about this. We talk about how we accomplish the things that we've accomplished or how we failed at what we were trying to do. I know there's going to be a lot of discussion about things like CrowdStrike, but there's also going to be a lot of discussion about how, state governments are looking to create those like any door policies. It doesn't matter what agency you're going into. We're going to help you figure out how to, get the service that you want. And we have these conversations up and down the line. And we'll talk about the areas where we shine, right? We're a very data-centric city. So we're going to talk with agencies about here's how we found ways to create almost 2,000 open data sets that are available to every resident today. And, just to add a little bit of artificial intelligence into this, anyone in DC can go to a tool, we call it DC Compass, and understand that data. You can use, it's a conversational AI where you can say like, how many trees are there in DC, right? And it's going to tell you. Or you can say, show me all the procurements in the city. It'll show you, right? This is how we engage with residents. But we do the same thing with the governments as well, with other governments as well, with city, state, and county level. We're willing to share what we can when it's appropriate with anyone that we can share.
I love it. See, let's turn our cameras on real quick. This is Mike Johns. Yo, check this out. We just covered on the topic, can the government use AI responsible, with the Chief Tech Officer of DC, Stephen Miller.
Yeah! What?
You just finished listening to another dope-ass podcast by Yo, check this out. We connect the streets.
Stay connected to Yo, Check This Out content. Hit that like and subscribe button on all platforms: YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok.